Hello all! Welcome to Pink Bison Studio, your new residential fursuit making YouTuber. I've been asked before how I come up with my designs, so I figured I'd make a video about it. My process is a little different for different types of designs, so I decided to split up into two sections. Simple characters, meaning characters that don't have much lore, like adopts and such, and complex characters, like for full universes. Feel free to skip around to what's relevant to you. I'll have timestamps in the description. All that being said, let's get started. For all my designs, the majority of work actually happens before I even pick up a pencil. I know a lot of people like to jump right into drawing, but in my experience that just ends with staring at a blank canvas for hours. When it comes to simple characters, I almost always start with two basic concepts that I combine together. We'll be using this girl, Unicorn Party Punch, as our example, but you'll find in pretty much all of my fursuit designs. Candy is, well, Candy and a bison, Pink Limeade was a bat and an alien, and so on. It can really be any two things like space and cotton candy or vampire and kid gore, but since I mostly do anthro designs, I usually do a thing and a species. In Unicorn's case, she's a sparkle dog and a goat. Once I have my main concepts, I like to spend a while brainstorming and gathering references, putting together a Pinterest board, stuff like that. For Unicorn, I mostly wanted to grab a couple sparkle dogs other artists had made so I could get some ideas for patterns, accessories, and colors. Depending on the character, I'll either put together a color scheme like I did here, or I'll just wait till I figure out the line art and such to worry about the color. Finally, after all that brainstorming and gathering references, I can start drawing. I like to start with my characters' heads and faces, since that's really when I lock down a personality for them, however vague it may be. In this case, Unicorn is supposed to be a hardcore rocker type. I use their personality to influence what kind of shapes I'll use in their design. If you've heard about shape theory, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it's a basic theory where shapes tell you things about the characters. Circular, round shapes indicate friendliness and softness, boxy, square shapes indicate stability and balance, and triangular shapes indicate energy and sometimes aggression. You'll see it in all types of art, including live action, but in cartoony styles like mine, people tend to exaggerate. For Unicorn, I wanted circles and triangles since that's what works best for her personality. You'll see the triangles in her hair, her tail, even her face, whereas the circles are more in her body, like in her shoulders and ears and such. After all that, it's just a matter of putting all the pieces together. I really just fiddle around with everything until it looks right and balanced, like how I put the dark gray on her feet since it was very top heavy. Moving on to expanded characters, those with lore. My process for actually drawing them isn't too much different with the shape theory and whatnot, but the planning process is very different. Let's use this design commission as our example, with permission, of course. I was told about this character that they're How to Train Your Dragon OC. They are a dragon hunter that rides a changewing. They are the chief of their village and live in a very cold climate place, like where the snow wraith lives. I started by brainstorming by looking over the references and watching some relevant episodes of the TV show. Again. I think when it comes to this type of character, that you should sort of be able to figure out some of their story just from their appearance. So I thought about who she was and how I could show that. One thing I really loved from the series was the dragon scale armor, but with her being a dragon hunter, I thought something a little bit more gruesome would work better. So I gave her some natter skin armor with a natter skull helmet. She also has some shoes made from natter with claws to give her better grip in the snow. Since she fights dragons a lot, it only makes sense that she has some scars and burns, so I decided she got some pretty severe burns on her arms. Burns can be a lot more sensitive, especially if not taken care of properly, like she wouldn't have been able to, so it would be a pretty big hindrance for this character. How would she be able to handle that? I decided that at some point she had managed to kill or injure a snow wraith and discovered that its skin had some sort of cooling or soothing properties for her burn. So she uses it to protect her arm, especially from the severe temperature changes she would deal with during her travels. The skirt was probably the most difficult part to incorporate because contrary to the metal skirt bullshittery that was the original show, skirts are actually hard to fight in. I really struggled with this for a while before realizing, wait, I could just make it removable. So now she has a thick skirt to help protect from the cold that she can easily rip off whenever she needs to fight. Those were the main ideas behind her design, but pretty much everything was made with thought. After all that, I went on with my normal process, her shape language being triangles and squares, her colors being mostly ripped from the natter, RIP natter, etc. And that's all for my process. Honestly, it was really hard to write this video. I felt like a scientist trying to describe how to breathe. So clinical. But I hope you found something useful in this and that it might help you with your designs. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. While you're down there, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe. It would mean the world and help my channel a lot. But even if you don't, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!